There are few pop icons who can cause a global frenzy with a single Instagram post. Britney Spears, our forever pop princess turned digital wildcard, is one of them. For decades, she has been under the microscope, analyzed, idolized, criticized, but in 2025, the conversation has changed. Instead of debating her music, we're poring over shaky videos, cryptic captions, and accents that sound like they belong in a BBC drama rather than a Malibu living room. The big question everyone keeps asking is simple. Is Britney okay, or are we just witnessing Britney being, well, Britney? The post that sparked the fire. On August 19th, Britney dropped a video from her home that made fans sit up in confusion. She wore a polka dot crop top and pink shorts, belted out Rihanna's Unfaithful. But here's the kicker. She did it in a thick British accent. The whole thing felt like karaoke night after 2 margaritas, except this wasn't a dive bar performance for a dozen friends. It was Britney Spears performing for millions of followers. Her dogs ran around the background like they were auditioning for their own spin-off series, and one eagle-eyed viewer claimed there might have even been a suspicious mess on the floor. That detail alone could have derailed the conversation, but it was her caption that added fuel to the fire. Messings around with lighting and cleaning my house like no tomorrow. To some, that sounded like Britney's attempt at assuring her audience she was fine, busy with chores and experimenting with creativity. To others, it felt more like code for chaos. Since her comments are permanently disabled, fans flocked to X and Reddit to express their alarm. One wrote, "How are people not more concerned about Britney Spears and the stuff she posts?" Another bluntly declared, "Sad to watch her like this." And then came the word that sent shockwaves through the fandom: intervention. Intervention? Fans are torn. The mention of intervention is like shouting fire in a crowded theater when it comes to Britney's fans. Ever since the conservatorship ended in 2021, her supporters have been hyper-vigilant about anyone trying to control her life again. The idea of strangers, or worse, family, swooping in to manage Britney sparks instant outrage. Yet in the wake of her unpredictable videos, the conversation fractured into 2 camps. One camp insists someone needs to step in before things spiral further. The other argues that Britney is finally free, expressing herself however she wants, and that anyone calling for outside control has clearly missed the entire point of the #FreeBritney movement. Some even suggest she's deliberately trolling the public. For them, her eccentric posts are a performance art project, her way of declaring, "Oh, you think I'm crazy? I'll show you crazy." One particularly thoughtful fan summed it up with the claim that Britney doesn't care about society's approval because society already failed her. And in a strange way, that rings true. Britney's vibe these days is defiance mixed with chaos. And maybe that's the point. Turning up the heat. As if to prove she could raise eyebrows even higher, Britney followed up just 4 days later with a post that made headlines everywhere. She uploaded a nude photo, arms raised, back to the camera, wearing only knee-high black boots. A single rose emoji provided the modesty, no caption accompanied it, and of course the comments were disabled. Within hours, the post racked up over 200,000 likes. It was quintessential Britney, provocative, unapologetic, and polarizing. The nude wasn't an isolated moment. For weeks, Britney has been sharing a mix of content that veers from entertaining to downright baffling. One day she's dancing outside to old Justin Timberlake tracks, because why not twist the knife? The next, she's adopting random accents to talk about snorkeling. Sometimes she twirls around in her closet surrounded by heaps of clothes. Other times she films bikini videos where she switches accents mid-sentence as if auditioning for a role no one knew existed. It's eccentric, it's unpredictable, and it's so very Britney. But the unease grows with every upload. Is this freedom, or is it a cry for help in disguise? No filter, no PR team, just Britney. Part of what makes this era of Britney so fascinating and unnerving is the absence of the machinery that used to polish her every move. Since the end of her conservatorship, there has been no manager, no PR handler, no publicist carefully crafting captions or styling videos. What you see on Instagram is Britney uncut. Every shaky video, every strange caption, every spontaneous accent, that's her. For her supporters, this is what they fought for. Unfiltered Britney. For her critics, this raw honesty sometimes feels unsettling, as if the filter was protecting her from herself as much as from public scrutiny. It is a double-edged sword. Freedom is beautiful, but freedom without boundaries can feel overwhelming to witness. And the tricky part is, none of us truly know if what we're watching is joyful self-expression or something darker, the bright spots. Despite the chaotic energy of her recent posts, it would be unfair to pretend Britney's post-conservatorship journey has been entirely bleak. There have been shining, hopeful moments along the way. Back in 2022, she teamed up with Elton John for Hold Me Closer, a reimagined duet of his classic Tiny Dancer. It was her first real step back into music after years of silence. Elton himself said he wanted to help her rediscover her voice after everything she had endured, and the collaboration reminded fans that Britney was still capable of delivering joy through her art. Around the same time, she posted a raw, stripped-down version of Baby One More Time. This wasn't the glossy studio version the world first heard in 1998. This was Britney alone, singing one of the most iconic pop songs ever, reclaiming it on her own terms. For many, it was proof that beneath the eccentric Instagram posts, the Britney we fell in love with, the performer, the artist, was still alive and ready to shine when she chose to. Performance art or cry for help? And this brings us back to the question on everyone's mind. Is Britney's Instagram a work of art, or is it a cry for help? The frustrating truth is that we simply don't know. Maybe even Britney herself doesn't know. It's possible that she's finally expressing herself in ways she was never allowed to before, letting her quirks, eccentricities, and rebellions take center stage. It's also possible that what we're watching is the unraveling of someone who has lived under relentless pressure for decades. The line between freedom and instability is thin, and Britney seems to walk it daily. What complicates things further is that she isn't just another celebrity. Britney is a cultural icon, a woman whose every move has been public property since her teens. If she posts something polished, people suspect control. If she posts something messy, people suspect madness. She can't win, no matter what she does. The cultural obsession with Britney. Why do we care so much? Because Britney isn't just Britney. She's a symbol. She represents an entire generation's soundtrack, a cautionary tale about fame, and a rallying cry for freedom. From the schoolgirl uniform in Baby One More Time, to her very public breakdown in 2007 to the Juck-Free Britney movement, she has lived her life as both a superstar and a spectacle. And now, in the age of social media, the spectacle has shifted platforms. Instead of analyzing her music videos, we're analyzing her Instagram posts. Instead of debating her artistry, we're decoding her captions like they're encrypted pleas for help. It says more about our obsession with her than it does about her state of mind. Maybe the real story is not Britney's Instagram, but our cultural addiction to dissecting Britney Spears. What Britney really needs. If there is one undeniable truth, it's that Britney needs something. Whether it's protection, guidance, support, or simply space, what she cannot continue doing is living in a world where every move becomes breaking news. She once defined pop music. Now she's defined by her Instagram feed. That is both unfair and exhausting. Freedom was the goal, and freedom was achieved. But freedom without care, without a net, can be dangerous. Britney deserves the chance to live authentically without being dissected at every turn. And that's the latest on Britney Spears' Instagram era. Chaotic, fascinating, and impossible to look away from. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update on the stories shaking up pop culture.